कया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to all of you for this evening session on Srimad Bhagavatam. Yesterday we heard that how Lord Brahma uh, and mm, Indra and other demigods like Lord and then headed by Lord Shiva, they all went to the shore of Milk Ocean and chanted Purusha Shukta prayers to invoke the mercy of Lord Vishnu. Right? So this is a very significant. Yesterday I have explained that how um, Lord Brahma, because he took Lord Shiva along with him, because it is mentioned that Lord Shiva is very dear to Krishna. So if Lord Vishnu sees Krishna, Lord Shiva, he'll be very pleased. Then he will grant his their boons very quickly. So it is very important to understand the position of all the other demigods and all, and Lord Shiva. Also, from this we can understand that the the personality who can solve all the problems of in this material world is Lord Vishnu. That is why we don't see many Lord Shiva's incarnations. Right? They say Dakshinamurti is incarnation of Lord Shiva, and then we have Shankaracharya. Then Lord Brahma, we hear that he came as Haridas Thakur. Otherwise, Brahma and Shankara, they hardly take any incarnations. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita, just like you cannot count the waves of the ocean, in the same way, we cannot count the number of incarnations that Lord takes in this world. So here in this verse, it is very clearly mentioned that even though Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all other demigods, they went to have darshan of the Lord, uh, then, but still they could not get darshan of Lord Narayana because Prabhupada says even for Brahma and Shiva and also it is very very difficult to get darshan of Lord Narayana, one who is sleeping in the milk ocean. So at the same time, it is mentioned that even though even for Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, it is difficult for them also to have darshan of Lord Narayana. Same Narayana, he comes as Krishna, as a coward boy, and then he enchants all the people on this earthly planet, and then all common people also they were able to see Krishna face to face, play with him, and ordinary cowherd boys. So it is mentioned that even though usually Krishna appears either in usually Kshatriya family, and sometimes in Brahmin family, but here, even though he appeared as Kshatriya, he went to live with the cowherds. They are called abhiras, like that. So when they so it is, that is why in Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra, there is a very beautiful prayer of Lord Vishnu, who is residing in the milk ocean. Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Shuresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrusham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Vridhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanadham. So, I meditate on Lord Vishnu, uh, who has a serene appearance which fills our inner beings with peace. Who is lying on the bed of serpent Ananta or Adisesha, representing the eternal primal energy of you know Mula Prakriti, from whose navel is springing up a lotus, which is the source of all creations through Brahmadeva, and who is presiding over the various elements of those creation. Right? He's a Bhutanada. Bhutanada. Bhuta means elements also. Like Bhuta also means living entities. Bhuta also means elements. Panchabhutas. And the Lord of the Devas, who is the substratum of the whole universe as consciousness, and boundless and infinite like the sky, Chidakasha, with a form blush in color like the cloud, which is radiating auspiciousness, which fills our inner beings with bliss, who is beloved of Devi Lakshmi, with eyes beautiful like lotus petals, who is attainable by the yogis through devotional meditation. I worship that all pervading Vishnu who removes the fear of worldly existence by making us realize that we are not isolated beings internally but eternally connected to Him as being servants of Krishna. I worship that Vishnu who is the one Lord of all the lokas. So, this is the very famous prayer from Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra. So all the demigods, they have approached this personality of Godhead. Then the Lord, instead of appearing in front of all the demigods, you know, they heard the voice, very serene voice, very beautiful Gambhira, like a rumbling of the clouds. Brahmaji heard in his trance, right? In his trance. So, the words are produced in the sky. This means that the speaker was unseen. Thus, they were said by someone who was invisible. It is Lord Narayana. Uh, so, a voice was actually engendered in the trance of Lord Brahma, right? So, samadho gagane, samadho tatrapi gagane. Thus, the state of being completely invisible is stated to make one aware of the special good fortune of those who lived at that time, since he had that sort of amusements later on in Sri Vrindavana and so forth. So we can, this is specifically stated because we are all very, very fortunate that actually Krishna came and then he moved around like that. So, uh, Purusha is the inner controller of Virat, and Paurusham signifies the words related to him. This adjective is used to generate the God's faith in those words. So, afterwards, it should be carried out by all of you, or else by everyone. Vidhi yatam. Only in that way, meaning only in conformity with that. So, the gist of that, so it is So because the voice said that all the demigods who had assembled there, they should carry out the orders of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, like that. Puraiva Pumsa Vadrato Dharajvaro Bhavadbir Amshair Yadus Yadusapa Janiyam Sa Yavad Urvya Bharam Ishwareshwaraha Swakala Shaktya Kshapayam Chared Bhuvi. Said Lord Brahma informed the demigods, before we submitted our petition to the Lord, he was already aware of the distress on earth. Consequently, for as long as the Lord moves on earth to diminish its burden by his own potency in the form of time, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of the Yadus. So this is a very important also point that Brahmaji was informing them that before we came, the Mother Earth came in the form of a cow and begged for the mercy and to alleviate the burden of Mother Earth. Lord Krishna is already aware, right? So that is why Prabhupada always says, just like mother, father, every day they provide the necessities of the children. The children, they don't have to go and beg for mother, give me food, give me milk, all these things. Mother and father, they already know. Like that, Krishna already knows what we need. Actually, always remember, Krishna fulfills what we need, our needs, not our greed, right? So if you keep our desires limited to maintaining the body and soul together, and remaining time we keep worshipping Krishna, then there is no need to work hard, right? So Krishna knows our necessities. Krishna, he fulfills all our desires. Whatever is required, we Krishna takes care. Krishna takes care. So that is why if you surrender to Krishna, then there is no need to worry. That is the meaning of Ananyas Chintayantumam Yejana Paryupasate. Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. Right? So many times we discuss this verse. It is a very important verse. Very actually. So Krishna is telling us to fulfill three conditions. One is Ananya Chintana, another is Paryupasate. Paryupasate means worship Krishna by every means, right? Nityaviyuktanam, means who are constantly engaged, right? Who are constantly engaged. So here Krishna is saying that Acharya's comment that the happiness of my bhaktas is not due to receiving the fruit of karma. Rather, it is because it is granted by me, right? Granted by me. So Krishna is saying that Nityabhiyuktanam refers to always who are always united with me. Yuktaha karma phala tyaktva, right? Um, you know, so this is very important. So the happiness of such pandits, who are linked with me, who are linked with me. So by bhakti, he is bestowed by me, is bestowed by me. So those who are not panditas are bereft of this knowledge of bhakti, right? So that is why nityabhyuktanam also means that I grant success in yoga, dhyana, and so on, to those who always desire union with me. So nityabhyuktana means those who want to be with Krishna, yoga, yeah, union with Krishna, then Krishna bestows the results of all the yoga and dhyana also. No, kshema means, even if my devotees are not expecting it, so I myself maintain them and carry their burden. So that is why here, Shri Krishna did not use the word, you know word karomi, which means I do, but he has used the word vahami, means I carry. So this implies that I personally carry the burden of maintaining their bodies, just as a householder carries the burden of maintaining his wife, son, and other family members. So their yoga and kshema, are not a result of the fruit of their karma, unlike others. So Krishna is so much, so and then somebody may ask, what is the purpose of behind you, O Krishna? You are the supreme personality of Godhead, who are always indifferent and self-satisfied, carrying their burden. you know so this appears to be contrary, because it is the devotee's duty to serve the Lord, right? So as it's stated in Gopal Tapani Upanishad, bhakti means devotional service to him, in which one gives up all kinds of designations, and by be they material or transcendental, you know and absorbs the mind only in Krishna. So this is called dashkarmya, freedom from karma and its reactions. So Krishna says, my ananya bhaktas are nishkama, and because of this selfless nature, I bestow bliss upon them. So I am neutral, but I give the bliss to my devotees because of my affection for them. So thus I am called Bhakta Vatsala. So therefore, it is incorrect to say that those bhaktas are lacking in love for me, because they give me the responsibility of their maintenance and nourishment. So I willingly accept this responsibility, even if they do not completely give it to me. So Krishna is saying that this responsibility is not a burden for me, who am capable of creating all the universes by my will. So because I am attached to my bhaktas, it is great pleasure to carry their burden, just as it is a pleasure for a man to carry the burden of maintaining a pleasing wife. So this is a very beautiful, most beautiful verse of Bhagavad Gita. Ananyas chintayantu mam ye jana pariyupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So our only job is to these three things, ananya chintana, then pariyupasate, some, by worshipping Krishna by all means, by every means, and number three, nityabhyuktanam, always engaged in Krishna's service somehow or other. So then Krishna is taking the burden of maintaining the devotee. So that is why it is mentioned, so many times, I when Mrugari, he was killing animals, off killing animals, Narad Muni protested, why didn't you kill them fully? Then Ardmuni, then he showed, that if you kill, because it is your profession, because it's your profession, if you kill them, you will get less sin. But if you off kill them and then leave them for in pain, then you will get more sin. So that is why Prabhupada says, Prabhupada writes in the purport that all those people who are killing animals just for the satisfaction of the tongue, they will have to face the same type of killing. So that is why sometimes we see some, it looks like apparently some innocent girls or innocent men, they get murdered, but it is not, they are not innocent, because in their last life and they killed a animal. So Prabhupada, then they have to again have to be killed like that. So all these people, uh, millions and millions of people who were killed in the Second World War, First World War, and so many wars. So Prabhupada says Krishna creates these massacres, in order to give the reactions of killing animals and eating, especially killing the animals in slaughterhouses. So Prabhupada says because Mrugari came in contact in association with Narada Muni, he became purified. Then he believed his words. Otherwise, nowadays all these scientists and philosophers, and they don't believe in the next life, reaction, sinful life and all. Prabhupada says laws of nature is are very very stringent. Nobody can escape like that. Then and, Mrugari said, okay, how will I become free from sinful reactions? Because he had developed faith now. Then Narada Muni said, break your bow and arrow. You know. Then Mrugari asked, if I break my bow and arrow, how will I get my food? So then Narada Muni said, I will arrange like that. So Srila Prabhupada wrote a beautiful purport, that Prabhupada writes that the source of income is not actually the source of our maintenance. Prabhupada writes, right? Every living being, from the great Brahma, down to an insignificant ant, is being maintained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, right? Eko bahunam yo vidadati kama, nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam, eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. So the one supreme being Krishna, maintains everyone. So our so-called source of income is our choice only, right? It's our choice only. So the one supreme being Krishna, maintain. So if I wish to be a hunter, it will appear that hunting is the source of my maintenance. If I become a Brahmana and completely depend on Krishna, so I do not conduct business, but nonetheless my maintenance is supplied by Krishna. So the hunter was disturbed about breaking his bow because he was worried about his income. So Narada Muni assured the hunter, because he knew that the hunter was not being maintained by the bow but by Krishna. So being the agent of Krishna, Narada Muni, very well knew that hunter would not suffer by breaking the bow, because there was no doubt that Krishna would supply him food. So he said, whatever wealth you have, you just distribute to others. Then only two things he told him to do. Go, live near the bank of a river, Ganga. Then build a small hut. Then you stay there. Uh, you keep Tulsi Maharani. So that is why Tulsi Maharani, worshipping Tulsi, and putting Tulsi and then circumambulating Tulsi, glorifying Tulsi. singing Tulsi Kirtan, they are the most important items in our devotional service. All of you, I request all of you, you know never ever, even one day also, don't stop worshiping Tulsi. If you cannot worship Tulsi on a particular day, at least offer obeisance to Tulsi and put little water and touch the Tulsi leaves, and then make sure that you eat at least 2 3 pieces of Tulsi. That like I told you, that the Tulsi that is offered to the lotus feet of Krishna, yeah, eat it, in the night time. Oh God. Eat it, in the night time, right? So Narada Muni instructed Mrugari that you do this. Then put Tulsi, put water to Tulsi, circumambulate Tulsi, then worship Tulsi, then chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Nirantar Harinam. Then you will be taken care. So when people heard that, Mrugari became a hunter, then they all started bringing some food and something. So whatever he needed, he kept them. Then remaining, he distributed. So like that. So this is a very important. This is a how our working hard, in the material life, depends on how much faith we don't have. Right? But Prabhupada assures that one should not be greedy. Mm. So Krishna will not fulfill our greed. Krishna fulfills only our needs, like that. So Brahmaji informed that Krishna is already aware of our problems of Mother Earth. So he has actually decided to solve the problem of Mother Earth, right? So at present also, various demoniac states all over the world, are increasing their military power in many ways, and the whole situation has become distressful. Therefore, Krishna has appeared by his name in the Hare Krishna movement, which will certainly diminish the burden of the world. So that is why Prabhupada extols that philosophers, religionists, and people in general must take to this movement very seriously. For man-made plans and devices will not help bring peace on earth. So but this transcendental sound Hare Krishna is not different from the Krishna person. Krishna Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto, Binatvam Nama Naminaha. Right? So this is the verse from Padma Purana, where it is very clearly mentioned that Krishna and his holy name are non-different. So nowadays also there is a burden of all these demoniac people, right? So how the China was attacking India, and so much military expenses, like that. When Nazis attacked Russia in the 1941, they were not prepared because Stalin and Adolf Hitler, they had an agreement, but Adolf Hitler, he didn't care. So they had to shift around 5 to 10 million people from one part of Russia to other part of Russia, and then so many people they didn't have any you know uh, proper arrangements made, and then millions of people are starved. Nazis have killed so many, millions of Russian people, and so much destruction happened. So today I was watching a video how the Beirut, that there was an explosion, and then how it was looking like. So people should not desire wars. All these Hindu nationalistic. You know, so very these wars are very damaging to the country, and so many millions of people die. So if you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and uh, Prabhupada said, if this Hare Krishna movement increases, then there'll be no threat of third world war, like that. So um, Vasudeva Grihe Sakshat Bhagavan Purushaha Paraha Janishyate Tat Priyartham Sambhavantu Surastriyaha. It is mentioned that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who has full potency, will personally appear as the son of Vasudeva. Therefore, all the wives of the demigods should also appear in order to satisfy him. So, so Brahma, mentions the reason for the Krishna taking gods taking birth among the Yadus with their amsas. So regarding Grihe, the idea of originating from father like a jiva does is rejected, because he the topmost Purusha, he is Purushottama, so Avatari and the glorious Lord. He has all godly capabilities, So make it, like, so there's even the state of being as an avatara of an Amsa is refuted. For example, you know, so the Lord who roams in Vrindavana smilingly said to me, "This form of mine that you see, which is effulgent, eternal, indivisible, inactive, self satisfied, and well rounded, is an eternal, spiritual, and blissful body on which the eyes resemble lotus petals. The Vedas speak of this body as the supreme cause, as absolute truth, and as the highest bliss that is dense consciousness and is continuous, pervasive, and transcendental." So this is from Padma Purana. So all these avatars, all these demigods, always some of these demigods, they are actually they can, they have some of these demigods, they have many of the demigods actually, they have taken birth as Yaduvamshis to assist. So there are certain amshas like Vasudeva and Devaki, those who came from the spiritual world. So some of these amshas, these demigods, they entered into the bodies of Vasudeva and Devaki, who are eternal associates of the Lord. So, and some of these ladies, who are actually wives in the some of these devotees who are practicing in the Swargaloka, they came down and acted as the wives of Lord Krishna, like that. So So the foremost manifestation of Krishna is Shankarshana, who is known as Ananta. He is the origin of all incarnations within this material world. Previous to the appearance of Lord Krishna, this original Shankarshana will appear as Baladeva, just to please the Supreme Lord Krishna in his transcendental pastimes. So this here it is clearly mentioned that Agrato Bhavita Devo Hare Priya Chikirshaya. the Ananta Shankarshana will take birth as the elder brother of Krishna. Usually, we see Lakshmana appearing as a younger brother of Lord Ramchandra. So why Shankarshana now he appeared as the elder brother of Lord. So it is very interesting that someone could. Is it not that he ought to be junior like Sri Lakshmana? Is that regard Brahma says Hare Priya Chikirshaya, right? So affection can take place only because he who was bound by an overabundance of service during the advent of Sri Raghunatha in days of yore. Because here it is mentioned many times we hear. I don't know. I also many times told this, but here the acharyas are commenting differently. Because Lakshmana he felt dejected because he was unable to serve the Lord Ramchandra properly in alleviating his distress. So that is a very interesting comment. Um, right. So when I will be the senior to the Lord, he will not be able to voluntarily experience the unhappiness Sri Raghunatha felt when Lakshmana was subordinate. So it is follows that Bhakti Keda in Sri Baladeva's name is to be understood as Bhakto Kedaha, rejection towards Bhakti, only because even Lakshmana was unable to dispel the Lord's unhappiness. This is Jiva Goswami says. So Sri Lakshmana was Hari is said because he steals the hearts with such consciousness. So this concept of Shankarshana is very important, because it is mentioned in Bhagavatam 5th canto also that Rupa Goswami says why Ananta is called Shankarshana. The upholder of the earth, Sesha is considered to be Shankarshana because he is an avatar of Shankarshana. It is given in Laghu Bhagavatamrita. So there is the devotees whose understanding is based on Sattva Tantra call Ananta is known as Tamasi, in 5th kind of Bhagavatam, by the name Shankarshana, whose characteristic is the conceit of I. That conceit is termed, in Shankarshana, because the ego is that by which the seer and that which is perceived are fully drawn together. So because of this false ego, I-ness, is coming from because of ignorance. So for the sake of purifying the consciousness of I-ness and mindness, like mamatvam, ahamatvam. These are the two enemies of all of us. Ahamatvam, mamatvam. I am this and this is mine. Right? In Putana's killing pastime, I have explained it. So these two, are to be removed. Right? So are to be removed. So, so the devotees who want to get rid of this I-ness and mindness, they should meditate on Baladev, the Shankarshana, right? Because as the presiding deity of ego and possessiveness, right? So Tamasi, Ananta is called Tamasi because he is the inner controller of Shiva, the presiding deity of Tamoguna. So this is given in the 5th kind of Bhagavatam. So this is a very important understanding. That is why Krishna, Baladev represents intense service to devotional service, intense devotional service towards Lord Krishna, right? Those who are proud, those who are influenced by so much false ego, this I-ness, and then mamatvam, mindness, that is why it is very, very difficult, like I mentioned, very, very difficult to give up our possessiveness, possessions, because we are thinking that I worked very hard, this is my kastarjitam, I worked very hard, so why should I give it to Krishna? Why should I give it to Krishna? So because of this possessive mentality, we don't engage it in Krishna, all the money that we earn, and then we just keep it in the bank, thinking that this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. So like in Padma Purana it is said that every time you say this is my house, your punya karma is reduced. Every time you say this is my my car, every time you say this is my jewelry, every time you say this is my money, so punya karma is reduced, and then that money remains idle without being engaged in the service of Krishna. Then if you die, then you simply reduced your punya karma, simply by saying ये मेरा है, ये मेरा है, ये मेरा है, right? So then you don't get any benefit of earning that money if you simply keep it in the bank. So if you pray to Lord Baladev, so in order to get rid of this false ego of I-ness, and this ignorance of mindness, then so Lord Baladev, he attracts our hearts to Krishna by through the mode of service. So that is why. So that is the concept of like विष्णोर्माया भगवती यया सम्मोहितं जगत् आदिष्टा प्रभुनांशेन कार्यार्थे संभविष्यति. The potency of the Lord, known as Vishnu Maya, who is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will also appear with Lord Krishna. This potency, acting in different capacities, captivates all the worlds, both material and spiritual. At the request of her master, she will appear with her different potencies in order to execute the work of the Lord. So Vishnu's Maya, she is considered, Krishna's sister. She also carries this. So there are two. One is Yoga Maya, and then her expansion is Maha Maya. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur very elaborately explains this concept of Yogamaya and Mahamaya. So Mahamaya cannot enable the task of transferring Shankarshana from the womb of Devaki to Rohini Devi, and also at the same time keeping Mother Yashoda into sleep, after so-called delivery, or not so-called delivery, no, so-called sleeping. It is by the influence of Yoga Maya. Mahamaya cannot accomplish these two tasks. One is carrying Shankarshana from the womb of Devaki to Rohini Devi, and putting Ma Yashoda to sleep, so that Vasudev can exchange the girl with the boy. So this is very important. So this Yogamaya no so she plays a very important role, so yaya sammohitam jagat, you know the world is bewildered by the Maya, who is her amsha. So this Mahamaya is amsha of Yoga Maya. So, so the transcendental worlds and the material worlds are confounded by her and by her amsha, like that. So karyarthe means the duties are twofold, like I have already explained, right? So Hari's beloveds have transcendental transcend the fourth stage and are fully connected with fifth stage, pure love. So their dreams can never come about as a function of Rajoguna. So when we sleep because of function effect of Rajogun and Tamogun. But when Mother Yashoda and other devotees they sleep, it is because they are beyond Turiya. Please understand there are four stages, right? All of you remember Jagrata, Swapna, right? Sushupti, right? Jagrata avastha, when the senses are working, mind is working, that is called Jagrata avastha. Then Swapna, the senses are subdued or idle, but the mind is working, that is Swapna avastha. And then third one is Sushupti, both mind and the senses are not working. It is deep sleep, deep sleep. uh, so then the fourth stage is Turiya. Turiya means transcendental, right? But Sage Pipalayana explains that throughout all these three, just like somebody is in deep sleep, so thus still we get up and come and say, because mind is not working, senses are not working when the deep sleep is there. But still we come up and say, I had a very good sleep. Why? Because the soul is aware. So the soul is aware of this Jagrata Avastha and Sushupti Avastha. So that is why we are different from this body, Piplayan Muni explains. And then there is something stage called Turiya, transcendental stage. That is we are yet to reach. And then there is a fifth state where pure devotees like Mother Yashoda, they exist. That is pure love, pure love. So when they sleep or when they dream, it is not because of the effect of Rajogun or Tamogun or because of our past karma. It is because of prema, right? It is because of prema. So so this Yogamaya works, Prabhupada writes, right? So Yogamaya, she works only in Vrindavan, right? She has no role to play in Vaikuntha. Yogamaya. So Yogamaya works only in Vrindavan, and then Mahamaya works in all other living entities. So when it is very important that when Duryodhan and all, when Duryodhan saw Krishna's Vishwarupa form, then he thought it is because of the effect of Mahamaya. That is why he did not accept the supremacy of the Lord. Salva, even though he saw Krishna on Garuda, he still thought some Krishna is some great person who has got some mystic powers. It is because of the effect of Mahamaya, Kamsa and all. They could not recognize Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vishwanath Thakur says that when Ma Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and others, the Brajavasis, you know, who have the greatest prema, such as Vasalya, so their bewilderment, characterized by their lack of interest for the Lord's Aishwarya. After seeing the universal form, Varuna's abode, and so on, respectively, and then there was a mood of Aishwarya Jnana. For example, when they saw the Vedas praise the Lord, so it's only due to their lack of reverence, and that is because of the high level of their prema, beginning with the Vasalya. So Vishnu Thakur says that bewilderment was neither affected by Mahamaya or nor by Yogamaya. Rather, it is occurred only by prema. So that is the indeed the nature of love, which after covering one's awareness, of the Lord's Aishwarya, and binding Sri Krishna with the rope of transcendental possessiveness, and then generating a boundless affection for the towards the Lord. So it is unknown. uncommon characteristic, like that. So this Vishnu Maya, it's very very powerful. That is why when Krishna sees, his devotees also sometimes get bewildered. He smiles because he thinks, how powerful my Maya is. Even my devotees also, they get affected, like that. The Lord thinks. So that is why we understand that the Lord, always remember this verse, fourth chapter, fifth verse, Ajopisan Avyayatma Bhutanam Ishwaropisan Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya Sambhavami Atmamayaya. Hmm? It's very important. Krishna comes, while Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya, being the controller of Prakriti, Krishna comes, control, by keeping the Prakriti under his control, he appears. But we take birth, by under the influence of Prakriti. So, if you take shelter of Baladev, we that is why every day we should offer, we should remember Balaram, Krishna Balaram temple deities and offer obeisance to Baladev. Then he will give us strength, right? He will give us strength to give up these two elements which obstruct us from serving Krishna. What are they? uh, Ahamatvam and Mamatvam, right? So Ahamatvam and Mamatvam, unless we give up this false ego, purify our heart of these two contaminations, Ahamatvam and Mamatvam. So Baladev will help us. So that is why Baladev is appearing, so appearing, because Lakshmana, he is a he acted as a Mahabhagavata, right? Even though he's a Shankarshana, and then Shankarshana, Baldev also he acted as Mahabhagavata, right? So that because the devotees are more merciful than the Lord, right? Than the Lord, like Shiva Vaishnavacharyas, they explain that when Lord Rama promised Sugriva that you fight with Vali, I will kill him. You don't worry. So because he's already afraid, Sugriva was always afraid. Then Sugriva went and challenged Vali. Come out. We'll have a fight. Then Vali came out, and then they had a fight. Right? They had a fight. Then immediately, then Vali beat Sugriva very badly, very badly. Mm. Then he comes back and then he blames Ramchandra. Va Mitrama, my dear friend, acha, dosti nibaya apne. If you didn't want to kill Vali, why did you, provoke me and encourage me to fight with him? I know his strength. I cannot fight with him. Uh, then Lord Ramchandra smiled, said, "Ore, both of you are looking very identical. Uh, how can I, you know, uh, I'm not able to, recognize who is you and who is." But actually, it is not true. Of course, um, we have to understand. There is a real meaning because Lord Ramchandra, he can easily understand because who is Sugriva, even though they are looking identical, because the one who is getting beaten by but getting beaten very badly is Sugriva naturally, because Vali is very strong. So Shiva Vaishnavas Acharyas, they Sugriva, when he when Hanuman brought Rama and Lakshmana on his shoulders, uh, in the when he saw Lord Ramchandra, he became so overwhelmed, seeing his beauty and all. So he offered seat and he offered respect. He asked him to sit properly and then ask him and all. So he completely forgot Lakshman in Mahabhagavata. So that is why Vaishnavacharya, Sri Vaishnavas, they say he has committed Bhagavat Apachar, unknowingly, by not receiving Lakshman properly, with respect and care, like that. That is why he was beaten very black and blue, like by Wali. Then Ramchandra, he just rubbed his body with his lotus hands, Amrutamaya Hasta. Then all his pains have gone away. Then mm, he said, "Wow, Mitrama." Then he said, you wear a garland so that I can recognize you, like that. Then he told Lakshmana that, Lakshmana, you put a garland around the neck of Sugriva. Then when you wear the garland, when somebody is putting garland around your neck, you have to bend your head, right? You have to bend your head. So like that, by bending before Lakshmana, his abachara is gone away. Then. Mm, then all of like that. So this is very important. So Baladeva comes the play to play the role of a Mahabhagavat, servant of Krishna. Lakshmana comes as plays the role of Mahabhagavat as a servant of Raghunatha, to show how to get rid of these two bad elements, ahamatvam and mamatvam, I-ness and mindness, my or mera, right? By serving Baladev. So Baladev is the Guru Tattva, spiritual master represents Baladev. So by serving the spiritual master properly, and then Baladev, Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balaram. So right, that is why it is said that Koti Chandra Shuchitala, so Nityananda Prabhu. So the Narottam Das Thakur and all, they are praying to Nityananda Prabhu, please take away this material contamination from my heart. So when I will become free from material desires and live in Vrindavan, there is one bhajan, right? Bhaja Hari Hari Bifale Janamaguna, like that. So like this, tomorrow we will see how Vasudev and Devaki get married, and so this is the introduction. 4 lectures it took, uh, you know, to the entire the pastime, why Krishna came, and how Krishna descent is going to happen, like that. Thank you very much for patiently hearing. Anybody has any comments, questions, you can ask.